Welcome to the Guitar Dads Podcast, the podcast for guitar people by guitar dads. This week, turns out hatred in this band has been all monkey business all these years. Is a new run of guitars shaping up? Did Dave Friedman create a monster, or is he Lex Luthor? And the ladies of the rock and roll night, we get back to a big show goal this week on the Guitar Dads Podcast. And now, along with Phillip Carter of the 40 Watt Podcast, the dudes who better start shaping up now, Matt and Dave.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave. And we got Phillip with us. What's up,
Hey,
Phillip?
Phillip.
What's up, dads? What are y'all doing?
We're here, dude.
Oh, we're just hanging out. What are you doing here?
Well, you know, I figured
Yeah.
we hung out enough last week that we need to hang out a little more and talk about all the adventures and traffic and, you know, cars driving into nail salons. And
That's right. That happened,
that's
too.
right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That did happen. And
So-
it wasn't us.
not
That's right.
us.
Yeah.
We know how to park at the nail salon.
That's right.
Phillip
Yeah,
all
when
was
we
actually,
go to the nail salon, we park properly.
That's right. We know what to do. Phillip was actually in town in Boston here this past week.
Yeah.
And he hung out. We had a lot of great hangs. And so we figured we'll have him on. We'll talk about it.
I want to mention that the Red Sox have not won a game since I was in Fenway.
No, you're
What-
wrong. They just posted the
just-
final score. They just beat Tampa Bay 5-0.
Oh, did
there
they
you
win
go.
today?
There
Okay,
you
They
go.
that's
did
good.
win today.
But
yeah.
we
Good.
saw a
Okay.
barn burner. We did.
Yeah,
We
but
did.
I'm just saying, Red Sox, you can hire me. I can just be a good luck charm. It's great. Just get me box seats and I'll be there.
It
They
was
could
fun.
use you, man. They could use you.
The box seats.
Um,
Love them. So good.
All right. Well, anyway, real quick, thank you to all our loyal listeners. Thanks for joining us. You know where you can find us at Guitar Dads Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Come join the group. And if you want to support the show, check out patreon.com/Guitar Dads Podcast, where for a small fee every single month, small donation, I should say, not fee. We're not charging you. But if you want to donate to the podcast and support us, you can get some extra content if you so choose. So thank you to all of our listeners. All right, boys. We got a lot to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
we
do
do.
Start.
Don't
Yeah,
you have a
what do you want?
sponsor? Do we need to cover that?
We'll do
We
that. We'll get
we
there.
will get into
Okay.
that. Oh yeah,
Because
we'll get into that
I'm
later.
anxious. I have all these things I want to say. Like I have so much.
Yep, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
All right.
We're very excited about this too. But first,
Ooh, into the Dataverse.
into
Oh,
the
my
Dataverse.
spleen.
We just pulled a lot of G's on that.
Yeah.
I know.
I
Lots
think
of
we were in
Gs.
an inverted negative G dive with a MiG-28. You know what that's from?
Before we get into the news, though, what was that joke? Say that.
Do you know
again.
what
Go
that
ahead.
was from? That was from
No.
Top
Yes.
Gun.
What is that?
That's a Top Gun reference. but
That's
I said
Top
it-
Gun. That's
but I
right.
said
There
it
you go.
incorrectly. That was not the right.
So I've never seen Top Gun.
Oh,
Whoa,
get
whoa, whoa,
the
whoa, whoa!
bleep.
Neither one of them.
This is like such a.
Really?
This
So-
is
so
such
here's
like
the
a
deal.
Gen X thing to like yell at
Well,
people for
also-
not seeing movies.
But I'm also just gonna say, here's the reason. I had a friend in middle school and high school who would just. I don't think I ever heard him say a word that wasn't a movie quote.
Oh yeah, that's my
And
brother.
his most quoted
That's you
movie
too.
was Top Gun.
Oh, that's a good
so
one.
I feel like I've seen the entire movie and have no desire to actually watch it.
I could do the whole movie for you right now. Although I did get that line right there incorrect. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
but it's close. But
fine.
you got the picture right.
Yeah.
But my brother and I will literally communicate in text
Oh, the
just in
two
80s.
of you are insufferable.
Like when because I went to see him this weekend in Chicago. We'll talk about that. There was a CME visit that transpired. But I sent him a thing, and I as I hit the ground, I said, Goose, it's time to buzz the tower. And he knew what that meant. He knew it was I'm done with the flight, and now come pick me up. So
There you go.
Nerd.
it's super nerd.
Nerd.
It's super nerd.
It's total nerd.
Anyway, all right. What are we doing?
Anyway.
What are we getting into with the Dataverse here?
All right. Well, real quick, I just want a quick shout out to John Willis. He's one of our listeners and in the
yes.
Facebook group and everything. Just he's going through a kind of a difficult time right now. He'll make it through. It'll be all right, I think. I hope. But I just want a quick shout out to John. Thanks for listening, buddy. We hope you're doing all right.
John's
right,
a local
man.
friend for me.
Oh, really?
Is
You
he
know
local
John?
to you?
Yeah, he's local to me, or was. He's local to where I'm from. He's from
Okay.
just north near in the Memphis area.
Oh,
Oh,
cool.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we wish him well.
And so, Philip mentioned baseball, and speaking of acts that have been kind of rounding third for a while, Dave Gilmour announced a couple of U.S. dates on his upcoming tour.
So hold on,
Now-
I'm still working on that transition because Dave, I think that was a
It was
swing
a
and a
rough
miss.
transition.
That was a swing and a
Listen,
miss, sir.
That was a swing and a miss.
I
It's been
thought it
like
was
3
good.
weeks, man,
I thought
since
it was
I've
good.
recorded. Yeah.
No,
I
it's
liked
good.
it.
It's good.
I like.
I'm a little behind. It's been a
No,
little bit
look,
since we've done a recording.
I knew what this was. I knew what I was getting myself
You know,
into.
dude, this is the dads. This is what we
Yeah.
do. So
spent a
Gilmore
couple
is
days
going
with
out
us.
on tour. What's he doing? Is he going on a tour? What's happening?
He's doing a tour. It's mostly in the UK, but or mostly in Europe, I believe. But there's a couple of US dates. There's a few at Madison Square Garden, November 4th, 5th, and 6th, and then there's before
Ooh.
that, he's hitting the Hollywood Bowl on October 29th and 30th.
Oh.
So, boys, where in terms of like the legends that are still
So-
able to get out there and do it, where does he stand?
So I will say they've also added the 9th and 10th at the Madison.
Oh,
Square
wow.
Garden.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, you can sell them.
Ah,
As
what do
some-
you mean air? You're
as
air.
someone who's not really a Pink Floyd fan,
I knew
Yeah.
this was going to be a loaded question for you.
I mean, I don't dislike Pink Floyd, but to me, you know how people say, "Oh, it's the Beatles or Elvis," it's or
Yeah.
Beatles or Beach Boys, which feels apropos, but or it's Elton. You got to be Elton John or Billy Joel, whatever your comparison is. I always feel like it's very you were Pink Floyd or you were Led Zeppelin.
Okay, you can't
As-
be both.
You can, but it's very rare. Usually you have one that you really gravitate towards, and Led Zeppelin was mine. But I've played Pink Floyd live in bands, and I have friends who are really, really into it. I don't think I'm paying the prices this tour is demanding to see David Gilmour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know
neither
what,
am
Philip?
I, but-
That's an interesting thing because I felt like I was always more in the Zeppelin camp than in the Floyd camp. But my brother,
was
I
I.
think, my brother, as someone who plays keyboards, I think he was more into the Floyd stuff because of all the synth and cool organ stuff that they did. So I think you're on. You might be on. I never really heard about that before, but you might be onto something with that. But I
think you're accurate.
I think
but
you
I
gotta
will-
pick one.
I will say my brother, one of the reasons I went out to Chicago this weekend was because my brother plays in a Pink Floyd tribute band. He's been on the podcast. His lead guitarist has been on the podcast. So you guys can go listen to that. And if you want to know how to get Gilmour tones, you can go back and listen to that because this guy's got them. And they were great. And then I found myself like on the flight home, like listening to Dark Side of the Moon. And I was, but you know what? It really is true. Like after I listened to like Dark Side of the Moon in its entirety, like I had no desire to listen to any more Pink Floyd after that.
Yeah, I've
Like,
listened.
I was like, okay, that's enough. All right.
I'm fairly sure at this point I've listened to their entire catalog.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I do with artists when I'm trying to get into them or understand them. I'll do like this big deep dive. And when I deep dive, I literally go through the entire catalog. Like I did that with Little Feat 2 years ago.
Oh wow!
I listened
Yeah.
to everything
That's a
Little
good one.
Feat ever put out.
Oh yeah.
I tried to do it
That's
with
crazy.
Steely Dan, and it just did not work out though.
Oh no, you can't get that far into Steely Dan.
Yeah. But so just to give an idea, Hollywood Bowl. I'm looking at Hollywood Bowl tickets.
Yeah, how
right?
much?
So for the cheapest of cheap seats, we're talking like way in the back, way at the top. You're seeing like $80, $90.
Okay.
For one
that's-
section forward, you're already looking at 150 to 200.
Okay.
By the time you get to the terrace, which is to me, I've never seen a show at the Hollywood Bowl. I've just seen it. By the time you get to the terrace, you're looking at 450, 550.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that sounds about right for that.
But this
you
is
know,
what
for-
it is.
Is he? But to me, like, and I didn't get into Pink Floyd until my freshman year of college with my roommate, who was very much. I think you're right, Philip,
With
with the whole
Kevin.
Led Zeppelin thing.
We're gonna
but
call him
I
out. He does not
totally-
listening.
He doesn't listen, but I totally got into Pink Floyd when I was living with him because that's all he was listening to. But just to me, like, I always wonder, like, is an artist legendary enough that even if I'm not a huge fan, do I need to kind of go see them to kind of check the box just to say I was there?
I mean, I would love to, so in that regard, I'd love to be able to say I saw David Gilmour live at some point.
Agreed.
I love the fact that I saw BB King live as many times as I did. There's several other artists that I'm like, I got to check this one off, before they call it quits or something happens. So yeah, I want to see David Gilmour live, but not enough to go to New York City or LA to do it.
I'm not going to travel. I agree.
These are fly shows.
But I got to tell you, like after listening to Dark Side of the Moon and listen to my brother's band, I mean, some of the guitar work is really good.
Well, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just
good.
so
It's
tasty.
Gilmour.
Oh my God. I'm just like, this is, oh man.
On the Mount Rushmore of influential guitarists, you can't have that without David Gilmour.
No, I mean,
he's one of the four.
God. Oh my God, it's so good.
Just for the sheer number of people he influenced. So,
oh yeah.
And so I don't know. I like that he's doing it, especially with the counter with Roger Waters doing his tour. It's sort of the counter tour to that.
Yeah, I love that.
So I don't know. I'd like to see it. I'm not going to be going. I'm not going to make a point to go see it. I'm not going to go that far to go see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we live within like a 4-hour drive of NYC. So Matt and I could really do it if we wanted to. And, it might still be on the table. We could convince ourselves. But,
but Dave, let's be honest. If it was Jimmy Page that was doing something, we'd be in the car. We'd be driving down there. We'd be looking at hotels.
We would have already bought tickets.
I'd already have tickets to multiple shows.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like we'd just be jumped. We jumped on it a long time ago. So that's what it is. I think you're right about that, Philip, about you're on Team Zeppelin or Team Pink Floyd.
Yeah, you can appreciate both.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You're going to have one you
I
fall
love that.
into.
I love that. But I will say, it is this thing where these guys are getting to the age where people feel like they are going to miss out and this could be the last time they ever tour. Yeah. I think that also goes into the high prices because people are just willing to pay them, right? I mean, besides the fact that they're catering to an older crowd that has much more disposable income, so they're going to be able to do it. The Stones have been doing that for years, right? Just commanding insane prices, mainly for that reason, but also because I think people think, although the Stones can't really do that anymore. I mean, they lost Charlie, but
but I mean, they're definitely catering to that nursing home Groupon crowd.
Well, I mean,
let's
admit it. Since the '90s, everybody thought the next show that they saw Keith at was going to be his last. So
I still think he died. No one bothered to tell him.
That's the thing, right? Like that's the joke. It's like, oh, this could be the last tour that the Stones ever do. And then they do like 20 more tours. It's like
that's right.
It's unbelievable. But
it's the Eagles. They've had their final tour so many times.
Yes. Another one, right? So but that's what it is. It commands that kind of price for those reasons.
I don't even think Kiss is done. I think Kiss is going to be doing.
Well, they're going hologram.
Virtual Kiss is going to be a staple for centuries.
They're going
no, I mean the real deal. I don't think this thing is going to.
Well, they're not going to be Kiss. They sold their name, image, and likeness.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, we talked about that.
They're done as Kiss.
They're done, and they're going to do hologram shows, and that's what it's going to be. So, hologram shows.
Hologram shows.
Save us, Obi-Wan. You're our only hope. I don't know.
They're going to do. That's a really good point. Like, you got to think that the Sphere in Vegas could do some cool stuff. Right? Like the technology that's there, they could do some incredible stuff. So when you think about that, you think the Kiss. I'm seeing the pictures that have come out of the Dead and Company.
Yeah, the Dead and Company. Ask if you see the videos.
Unbelievable. Wow. I don't even like that stuff. And I'm like, I would have had a great time at that show.
I want to go see them while they're there. It's not going to happen now, obviously.
I mean, it looks unbelievable.
Well, Philip, Matt and I talked about this a number of episodes back with the Sphere. Is the Sphere kind of like in that vein of like the legendary performer? Is the Sphere kind of like you would probably go see any show at the Sphere just to go see a show there because it looks so cool?
The venue is the draw.
Yeah. Totally.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the artist is part of it, but the venue is the draw in a place like the Sphere. So a lot of artists and musicians and cover band players and just folks out there playing music, there are multiple ways you get out there and you do it. You have a name as a band, and that's when bars want you to come play.
Yeah.
And because you're going to bring your crowd. there are the opposite bars where the bars have a reputation and you want to play there because it's going to get you in front of people who are really into music. You look
That's
at
right.
you look at historic places like Whiskey A Go-Go and or just name any other. I'm not going to go down this list because my brain is not there for that. But I think the Sphere is already it's that venue. You need
that's right.
Whatever you got to do to get on the stage at the Sphere. But also, can you imagine how expensive it is?
That's insane
to do the production
it's
to take
crazy.
advantage of the Sphere.
Oh, it's great. This is why the prices there, from what I understand, are pretty damn expensive. But considering the experience you're getting, it's like this is. I mean, it's pretty wild. So
Yeah.
But it is expensive.
I'm looking to see how much the tickets for the Sphere were.
Look and see. The cool thing about the Sphere is it seems like you can get a great experience anywhere in the house. So it's not like you need to be close to the stage to get the full experience, which is pretty cool.
Seemingly though, the top, the seats that are way up seem like they're super nosebleed, but pictures never do anything justice, so they could be a lot closer than it appears. But you're right, because of the screen and the technology, it just you're in the action. It
doesn't matter
wherever you're sitting.
Yeah, it does, because it's less
that's
about
the beauty. I don't think it matters where you sit in that venue.
That's right.
So I'm looking at the prices right now for the May 30th Dead & Co show.
Okay,
right?
What do you got
at the Sphere? So general admission, which is right next to the stage. So they, the GA is right up against.
Oh, I didn't
the
realize
stage.
they did a GA against the stage there.
And that's $220.
Oh, that's not
right
bad
now.
at all.
Do I need to stop?
No.
I was trying to
Dave was just
came to a screeching halt.
Dave's just giving you sound effects like what?
I actually couldn't hear the sound effects, so I don't even know what that was.
Oh yeah, no, that was
it was
the record
literally
scratch.
tire screeching.
That was the record
Okay,
scratch.
good. It was the right one. Perfect.
Okay, so it was a record scratch.
It was a record
sounded
scratch,
like tire
yeah.
screeching in my ears. So then, like the next tier out is tickets 113, 104. There is
That
a
seems
middle
to be the
section.
going price
That's
now for a
pretty
big show,
reasonable.
right?
Yeah, the middle section has the most expensive seats.
Okay, so
I don't know if that has to do with the view in the Sphere, the way it's.
Yeah,
but,
it must.
Yep.
But I'm seeing section 203, the cheapest tickets, $2,126.
Oh my god!
I
But
think
the
it's
section
kinda like
right
those-
next to it, it's 177. So I
Okay,
think
so you
that's
can
just
get
one-
in there for a
one person.
reasonable price. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I think if you're in that sweet spot, from what it looks like, it's kind of like once you're in a sweet spot in there, everywhere around, you're just surrounded by everything within the band and the screens and the sound. So yeah, that would be quite the experience. I think my threshold too would be pretty low in terms of who I'd
love
or
to
my
see
threshold
somebody
would
there.
be high. What am I trying to
yeah.
say? Like I would see pretty much any band at the Sphere because I just want to go see the.
Oh,
band.
totally. Yeah, I mean, I
I
would
want to
sit
know
through
what
a
it
Dead &
sounds
Co.
like.
Yeah,
I want
Yeah,
to know what it
sound must
sounds
be
like.
Crazy.
Are they doing like Atmos live? Is that what they're doing? Mixing in Atmos live or something like that to give you a surround effect? I don't know what's going on.
I mean, that's the way it's wired, right? It has like surround sound essentially, from what I understand. I watched some show about how they built it on YouTube, I think, and it's the sound system is serious. Like it's not just like, oh, this is a bunch of speakers, here's a line array,
Right.
PA. It's like serious. So I agree with you. Like, do they have like a bunch of sound engineers that are mixing this thing live? I mean, what's going on?
It's got to be wild. I want to see a show there. I don't know. I don't care who it is, but there are definitely some bands I'd prefer to see there. Like if I were gonna see David Gilmour or Pink Floyd,
Oh, that'd be the place.
the Sphere.
You're right about that. Damn. Take
That's
some
where I would
gummies.
see. Yeah, dude.
That would be a night.
I would not be able to stand up at any point.
Oh
done.
man, what a show!
You would have
But
a
you get
great
the idea. Like
Fantastic.
some bands really lean into like what I would expect out of like, and Dead & Co is a great example.
Oh yeah, Dead & Co. Yeah.
I'm not into Grateful Dead, but I would love to see that show.
Oh man, it'd be awesome. Well,
it'd be a
you would
great
get to
show.
hear John Mayer's Dumbles, so that'd be cool.
I mean, and his bassman and his
Yeah.
bandmaster and it's fine.
That'd
fine.
be cool.
I've seen John live. It's fine.
Yeah, no,
John's
I would
awesome.
Seeing him
Come
in
on.
that, I've seen him live a few times. I think seeing him in the Sphere would probably, even with Dead & Co. And
Even
again,
playing
I'm
Dead & Co.
I'm not like a huge fan,
Yeah.
but that would be pretty killer. All right, well, really quick, moving on to this topic. Speaking of bands that you don't want to see, and we'll move on real fast after this. Matt and I talked about the potential of a reunion of Sebastian Bach
Oh, Skid Row.
in Skid Row. Yep. And a couple episodes ago. And Bach was on an interview recently on Trunk. And he said there's a lot of inaccuracies in the media and a lot of miscommunication. And he's saying that, the band doesn't hate him. They don't think he's too crazy and everything is complete bullshit. And it's not true. So when asked about a possible reunion, he did not put it to bed. So it could be coming.
Of course he wants.
I just don't think he just can't
to.
sing anymore. He can't sing anymore.
He claimed it's business that's keeping them from reuniting, and those were his quote. And
that just means the money isn't there yet, but it will be there.
Yeah,
because they will make bank if they do this reunion.
I don't know.
Tour.
Can Sebastian Bach still sing? Can he still do it?
He does tour.
No.
He tours, but I don't think he can sing as high as he used to sing.
Man,
but I think he still
had
sings.
that voice back in the day. He had that voice.
I mean, I've said this a lot. He had one of the greatest hair band voices that was out there. Just hands down, he did. And so I don't know that he still does. I haven't really heard anything recently from him. I'm sure you could go on YouTube and listen to it, but yeah, I don't know that it's there.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting.
It is interesting.
And another reunion we've talked about of late, the Bon Jovi reunion.
Yeah, we got to touch on that.
Richie Sambora
Dave.
was on the Chris Shiflett podcast recently and talked a little bit more about the documentary that is out or coming out about
it's
Bon
out.
Jovi.
Yeah, it's out now.
It's out. Yeah, he didn't go into detail about his feelings on it, but he did kind of allude to him not being as thrilled about some of the things that are in there. But he did say he watched it with John. And he was obviously interviewed for it and all this, but it didn't sound like he was too thrilled about some of the stuff that has been put in that thing.
He did. He said that's he said it's John's side of the story. That's what he said.
John's side of the story. Yeah.
He said it's John's side of the. He didn't go out as far as to say it's inaccurate. He didn't go as far as to say it's inaccurate, but he did say that's John's perspective on what happened.
Right.
And I think he was just like, look, I'm not in it that much, but they talk about me a lot in it. Yes, I sat for the interviews, blah, 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 and Chris just flat out asked him, are you ready to get back with him? He goes, I get back with him anytime. No problem. There's no bad blood or anything. I'm happy to get.
What
do
you think about what do you think about his comments though about the surgery, the larynx, the larynx, the plastic larynx, and all the surgery that John is going to have? He the way I took that was I don't think he believes that John can still sing anymore. So is that going to convince Richie to not go back out?
Have you seen the quote from what article is it from? New York Daily News.
No.
What did it say?
Guitar player Richie Sambora is up for a Bon Jovi reunion as long as frontman John Bon Jovi can hold up his end of that.
He didn't say that. He didn't say that.
I bet he did.
Did he really say that?
Here, I'll get an exact quote.
Give me a quote because that's interesting. He didn't say that on the Shiflett podcast.
No.
What he said was, I would definitely go if he gets his voice back. I'd go play. I've got songs.
Yeah. He said something like that on the Shiflett podcast as well.
Yeah.
And that's what he said. He goes, yeah, we've worked. He's like, I got songs that I'm working on. I'd love to, but he was very skeptical of the surgery. He goes, I would have told John not to do it. That's what he said. He goes, I would have told him not to do it and just rest his voice and rehab and come back from it. He's like, this stuff is not quite proven. He's like, it's risky. He could never really get it back completely. So look, which is a valid opinion. I mean, Richie kind of knows a little bit something. I'm sure he's got vocal coaches all around him all the time. So, that's what it is.
Could this ruin the Bon Jovi legacy if they do a reunion? And
you always want to talk about ruining legacies.
I do. I love the topic. I think it's an interesting.
I don't think it would. Part of it is. I don't know. Actually, maybe I think they could. I was going to liken it to
a blaze of glory.
No, they didn't. I was going to liken it to when Jordan came back to the league, right?
Yeah.
Right. And you know how we all sort of talk about his time at the Wizards, it wasn't great. Go back and look at the stats. He was still one of the best players in the league. He was still one of the best players in the court. By a long shot.
Well, that's the thing.
But John is not one of the best singers out there.
He was.
He was. And they sold more records than anybody in that era. I think they were the band of that era. right?
Yes.
So I like
100%.
like you can't really. This is what I always argue with you, Dave. You can't take away those past successes.
I'm not taking it away.
Well,
I'm
it
not
doesn't
taking it
ruin
away.
the legacy. Like, so did the last 2 seasons of Brady's career ruin his legacy? Come on.
I was just going to say, since
he won a
Philip's here,
Super
can we at
Bowl.
least talk
well,
about
but
we
didn't he
can't
play
take
2
away
more
any of
seasons? Was
Brady's
it one more
Super
season or
Bowls?
2 more seasons after that? Where they
No,
were?
he
2 more.
retired.
2 more.
Is it 2 more?
I
after
thought
the
he
Super
played
Bowl?
like 2 more after
Okay.
the Super Bowl. That's what I'm saying.
But-
like,
No, 1 more. He played 1 more.
oh, one more.
after the
Okay.
Super
Well,
Bowl.
was the last season
So-
ruin his legacy? No.
No.
Come on.
It's just like, I mean, George Jones's legacy wasn't ruined by his no-shows.
Yeah. So there you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's still considered the greatest country singer to ever live. You know what? It's if you're that band, you're that person, you're that performer, you're that performer.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. What do we remember about David Bowie? The incredible performances.
Totally.
He had some stinker albums.
Yeah. It wasn't like everything was great.
I just made somebody really angry.
But not all the Bon Jovi albums were great either, right? I mean,
No.
And look, this is what it is. But they were. I mean, "Slippery When Wet" is a freaking hair band masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
It just
It's a
is.
masterpiece.
You know, so like that's you can't take that away from them. And but you know what? I listened to the interview with Bon Jovi on Howard Stern. I think it's great that he's given it a shot and that maybe he has some years left in him touring and actually doing it, because he had to do something, because Dave and I basically spent a whole podcast episode saying that how he should hang it up because he has
Y'all
no
spent
freaking
multiple episodes on
business.
that.
He has no in the
Yes.
condition he was in, he didn't have any business out
No,
there
he
touring.
didn't need to be on stages.
It was terrible.
He didn't need to be on stages.
So it's good that he's
Well,
trying.
I mean, Richie said he's not willing to tune to C sharp either. So, it's just going to have to.
oh man.
Would
Anyway,
guitar sound better in C sharp?
I do want
Albert-
to shout out.
Albert King proved it.
They do sound pretty good, and they sound damn good in C sharp.
I do want to shout out the Shiflet podcast. If you guys haven't listened to it, it's very cool. So anyway,
Yeah, I need
Yeah,
to listen to it. It's not on my regular rotation.
it should
Yeah,
be
no,
because
he does a great job.
He asked. I didn't because the first one I listened to was this one with Richie. He asked them about particular solos and how they played them.
that's the premise of the podcast.
That's
He
the whole
goes
premise
into
of the
particular
podcast.
solos.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's like, "How did
It's
you do
great.
that
So if you
part?
can watch it on YouTube. It's great.
Play that slower. It's awesome. Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to watch it on YouTube. I listened to it, but you got to watch it on YouTube.
I will do
Yeah,
that.
it's
Anyway, what
Well,
else we
speaking
got?
of podcast, this episode of the Guitar Dads podcast is sponsored by Copper Sound Pedals, a
Yeah.
boutique pedal company building unique effects pedals by hand right here in Massachusetts.
They are. I
And
seen
today-
it.
Yes, you did. And
It's
today we
legit.
are putting the spotlight on the Telegraph V2. So whether you're familiar with Copper Sound or not, you've probably seen their Telegraph stutter in stores or online. It's a kill switch pedal that features a Morse code style key on the face of the pedal. And Telegraph V2 features a proprietary all metal telegraph key. And this sturdy and stylish upgrade now allows players to control the effect with their feet. In addition to the all classic kill and activate modes, Telegraph V2's most popular feature is the brand new Burst Mode. Burst Mode is an automatic tremolo-like stutter. Popular feature, as I stutter through this, adjustable from 110 BPM to around 1,000 via the burst knob. So try doing that with your foot, Matt and Philip. Bet you can't.
No, can't.
And
You
if
underestimate me.
I do.
Wait, you know what the
as-
best part is? And I know
What's
this isn't the stutter, but it sounds like
Oh, the
this.
sound. Oh, it's so good.
It's an awesome.
You could just sit
pedal.
there and do that all day.
So
with your
Philip, tell
fingers,
us
you know?
about how what you do with it and how you
real,
find the
but
triple
listeners
grab.
get
sorry.
get a 10% discount with if you type in Dad's 10 at checkout, you're going to get 10% off your order. So
And
yeah,
I'm just
Philip,
saying,
tell us about this.
while you're at it, get that maximum discount and buy the triple graph.
Yes.
Get your maximum money's worth out of the code.
That's a good
Buy
point.
a triple graph.
Yes.
The triple graph I have, which I have in my hands here, is the collaboration with Jack White. Got to talk some with Alex last week about this. I paid my good, hard-earned fun vouchers for this pedal. Nothing was given to me. I'm not sponsored by Copper Sound,
he's
so I
not.
say what I want.
All right, be careful
This
now,
is
Philip, because we are
This
sponsored
is
by them.
one of the coolest pedals for those that are watching. If you're seeing this, It's one of the coolest pedals. I have to be really careful to hold
So
on to
cool.
this and not drop it on my keyboard
don't
and
you do it.
mixing
It looks
surface,
great though. That's a good
because
shot.
This is so
It's
hefty.
built like a tank, though. It's not going to
It
break.
is. It's so hefty. And people are like, well, there's kind of a lot of space for an octave pedal. Yes, if that were just what it was, you Neanderthal.
That's not what
You
it
can
is.
I love the middle switch where you can add something else in the loop of it that you can also stutter on and off, use as an unlatching or latching switch to bring into the sound.
It's like an infomercial, but there's more.
But there's more. And there's so many ways to do this. Go watch videos on the internet to hear all of them. But it's also just got the best tracking octave up and down I've played.
I was going to say, there was a lot that went into this, and it's a great tracking octave up and down. You're not going to get those like weird notes that come in there. You know what you get with some octave pedals. You're not going to get that with this.
You're not going to get that.
Yeah.
And I have, I'm about to start work on a new pedal board, and this is going on the board.
Ooh.
For the first time since I got it. It's going on a pedal board.
Nice.
So
That it will be cool. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how you use this thing. Yeah, I mean, have you decided what you're going to do with it?
So right now, my obviously I'm going to use it as octaves for the up and down, and I'm going to put the Fuzzrocious little fella, which is a fuzz,
you gotta
in
do
the
that.
loop of
Put
it.
that in the loop.
Yep, stick that in the loop of it, and then we'll see. I don't know. I may do something even more insane, like I don't know, put a phaser in the loop, or I don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
the
great
beauty of this
idea.
thing. You can go any one direction you want to go with it. So
That's cool.
it's definitely a very unique kind of piece of gear that you want to get your hands on. And go Dad's 10 at checkout and you get your 10% off.
Dad's 10, go
Phillip
for it.
is right. Take advantage of that on this pedal.
Get the max discount.
Max your discount.
Yeah, that's right. Awesome.
All right. Well,
All right,
thanks
where
for
we going?
chiming in on that, Phillip. Hey, guys, we got breaking news. A man was admitted to the hospital today with 25 plastic toy horses in his rectum. Good news, doctors describe his condition as stable.
I actually really like this one.
Bye.
Phillip's done.
Phillip's out of the podcast. Bye, Phillip. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for coming.
No,
It
you're
was
good.
nice to see you.
I don't know.
Oh,
I honestly
man.
don't know how you hung out with us for so long and put up with so many bad jokes and didn't want to jump out of the car.
Listen, I thought it was just stick. I thought it was just a thing.
No, it's
I didn't
real.
know it was just. This is just who you are.
Phillip
is
spent
who
a
we
lot
are.
of Phillip spent a lot of time in the car with us in traffic this past week.
Because of
So
We did.
he was subjected to a lot of guitar dad banter. So
There was a lot of daddery.
it was
There was
guitar
an awful
daddery.
lot of daddery.
All right, let's get into it. Let's discuss.
Let's
All
discuss.
right, what are we discussing?
We want to discuss.
Give
what?
us a jumping off point.
Well, so first of all, should we go into the entire lineup of the Red Sox, or we should go on the pitch? Should we start with the pitching staff first? No, we're not going to bore the listeners with the Red Sox.
This isn't a Red Sox podcast, thankfully.
Thankfully,
That's funny because I'm pretty sure the GM is bored with that lineup too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, where's my?
Wah, wah, wah. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we applaud that. We do applaud that here. So Guitar Adventures, what happened?
Yeah.
We got to go to a lot of different places, but because of typical Boston traffic, we missed out on a few places. But
Well,
where
Phillip
did we
didn't
start?
really
We-
miss out on a lot because then we did it without
he-
you, Dave, on Thursday.
Yeah.
morning.
We had to go without Dave on was that
Thursday.
I don't
and
remember.
you enjoyed it better.
No, it was
Let's
well,
admit it.
no, we
You know,
missed you.
but it was a good time.
Fewer dad
Um,
jokes.
Yeah,
We went to Guitar Center, where it's the only place I actually purchased anything.
that's right.
I'm
I
now
find
the
this
proud
very
owner
ironic.
of a Metal Zone.
That's right.
Listen, that pedal, for all the crap that it gets, right? I mean, I've never played one, but I've heard enough of them all over the tubes, and that kind of thing.
I've owned a couple over the years. Usually it was all back in the day when you could find them in pawn shops for $25.
Oh yeah.
So this one I bought for $60 something,
what it was?
tax or something like
Yeah.
that. And I had a $60 credit to Guitar Center, so I was like, I'm going to buy something.
Might as well get it.
Might as well get
Yeah.
it. I agree.
It was It was that or an old school Line 6 pod bean, and y'all kept saying I didn't need to do that.
No,
is
we
so
weren't going to let you
dumb.
get away with that.
The Metal Zone's so much better than that. So I'm glad you went with
Yeah, I
that
think
instead of
so.
the Metal Zone, instead of the
Yeah.
Line 6 pod bean. Anyway, but yeah, you got to experience the kind of flagship Massachusetts Guitar Center store, which is okay.
It's pretty solid.
They got a lot of custom
solid.
shop from Fender and Gibson there. Some cool custom shop stuff there.
Yeah, did you guys see anything that you were blown away by in that
Yes.
shop or no?
A
Did
lot
you?
of cool
Yes.
stuff. Yeah, what do you got?
They
Phil?
had a couple of custom shop. They had a custom shop gold finish 335.
Oh, they did.
Ooh.
They also had a custom shop gold 3 pickup SG.
Yes, they
Ooh.
did. Yeah.
Both of which I was very much like, I cannot. There's Philip, there's a guitar at home waiting for you to unbox it. Don't
That's
even
right.
look at these.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, they have some cool stuff there. They
How
also
are the prices
had,
on those?
the prices on those expensive.
Yeah, I don't remember. I wasn't in the market, so I didn't look at prices. I just went to enjoy looking.
You just enjoyed
So-
it.
But they happen to have the amp, a vintage amp that was Philip named his podcast after there in the
Super
in the
reverb,
showroom,
yeah.
a super reverb. They had, what was it, a 65? Is that what it was, Philip?
That was it was a 65.
65.
It had the old had the original ceramic speakers still in it. I think it probably needed a cap job. It still
okay.
sounded fine, but every now and again I heard a little bit of noise that sounded like the caps going out on it.
Yep.
Which is totally normal.
Yep.
Totally normal on an amp that old.
Yep.
But it sounded flipping
It
great.
sounded good,
And that-
man.
And
Yeah,
that
how long do
Schecter,
capacitors usually run for? Before you get
really, they're only supposed to be. And somebody's going to yell at me. No. What the people who built them said,
Yeah.
they should be good for about 20, 25 years.
Oh, okay.
But of course, I just changed the ones in my 1970 Super Reverb like 3 years ago.
Okay.
And so, because it finally needed it, some can go sooner, some can last a whole lot longer. There's still some Tweed Deluxes out there with their original caps in there, and it's no big deal. But
Man.
they all eventually do have to be changed.
Man, it
So
sounded
that's
great.
normal stuff. That amp sounded great. The reverb was right. The tremolo was right.
Yeah.
It's a perfect amplifier except for the size. It's
so
just heavy. And on
Philip,
top of that, Matt and I talked about it. For those of us that are of normal height,
yes.
because it's a 410, the handle sits right where your arm is at relaxed like extension, right? So in order to actually lift it off the ground, it's not just a question of how heavy it is, it's how tall it is. So you have to lean and just
that's
give
so
yourself a
uncomfortable.
hunchback,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
awful. There should have been handles on the side.
Handles on the side, or was I was thinking was casters on it. I don't know if that affects the tone, though.
Casters
Yeah.
are fine, but eventually they snap. They catch
Yeah,
enough bad
You're right
floors.
about that.
They snap. Handles on the side make a lot more sense. It distributes the weight.
Yeah.
That's how I carry mine
Oh,
when I have
okay.
to carry it.
All right.
I don't have handles on the side of it. I just bear hug it and
Oh,
pick it
do
up.
you? Oh my god,
So,
that's
yeah.
crazy, man. This thing is heavy.
easier.
Heavy as hell. But it did sound great. I was like, yeah, I kind of get it. I played it. I was like, yeah, I get it. I get why Philip loves this thing. And also like a vintage, I think that was the first 65 any kind of Fender I've actually played.
Oh,
I've seen 65 Princetons in some stores. I didn't,
Yeah.
I was kind of didn't want to try them, but
they don't even have to be 65.
Yeah.
64 to 67 is what you're looking
okay,
for.
yeah.
65 is only like the number everybody uses because that was the big takeover of CBS.
Yes, that's right.
And so that's the year they did the reissues of, but they could have said 64 to 67 reissue. It was just neater to say 65.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I'm fixated
And-
on 65. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
now in other people's heads, 65 is better than 64, 66,
That's funny.
or 67.
Even though it's exactly the
That's
same.
so
yeah,
false.
it's funny how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that changed in the Super in those years, they went to the CTS Alnico speakers, which are my preferred speakers.
Okay.
I think they're the best speakers ever made for guitar.
No. Okay.
So
Nice.
You
Love
heard
it.
it here first.
Love it. Love it.
We
man.
also the day before we did get to finally get down to take Philip down to Rick Tomasi's place, the Guitar Pedal Shop.
Yeah.
We've talked about them a lot on this show.
Yes.
yeah, what a
Philip, I
cool little
was-
store.
Cool little store.
Was
a
that
little hole in the
cool?
wall store with like a gazillion pedals, and another interesting Super sitting in there.
Yeah, they had that crazy snakeskin wrap super. I think that was
crazy.
a kit build though.
Oh, it was a kit
You
build,
think
not
so?
a actual.
Yeah, so I
Rolex.
looked at it. The panel's wrong. The back panel's wrong.
Okay.
The transformers aren't right for a super.
Interesting.
So it's a kit build or some kind of rebuild
yeah.
of a super.
Yeah.
So it's not an original super.
Makes sense.
But it looked great
because it's
looked
covered
great.
in snakeskin Tolex.
Right.
So it makes sense that it's not
exactly.
I thought it was just like a Re-Tolex thing, but that makes more sense now. Actually, it's cool. I posted it up in
there's
the
a lot
Facebook
more going
group.
on.
Go check it out, guys. So
Yeah,
But
it
I
was
got
cool.
Yo, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I wouldn't play it.
you wouldn't
Okay,
rock
no.
it.
I don't have the boots to go with it.
But you did. But I was actually really. It was kind of cool, watching you in person, like with your pedal journey, and tell everybody about what you were. It was fun watching you like put a pedal down and how you were testing it out and what you were going after and the tones you were going after. But you didn't walk out with anything.
No, I didn't walk
I-
out with anything, and I ultimately have to just talk myself out of things because right now, even after selling a large part of my pedals, a few other things, I still have just oodles of stuff in my house, and so every single pedal, guitar, amp, anything I look at, I have to go, do I actually need this? Do I just kind of want it? And why do I want it? Is there hype around it? And I'm just buying into the hype? Or
Yep.
do I want it because somebody I love played it or used that sound? Or am I just, why do I need this thing? And so, like, for example, they had it's a 90s reissue of the Silicon Fuzz Face, the big
Yeah,
box.
the big
I love
box
the
one,
big circle ones. I love those. They're my favorite Fuzz Faces. That one and the Germanium. I had a Germanium one. I never should have sold it, but I did for whatever reason. Probably in
But you
another
have 42
downsizing.
fuzz faces sitting right
That's the thing. That was the reason I didn't buy it. It was
But
a
it's the
fair price
original,
on
right?
it. Well, no. That's not an original.
Well, no. But I mean, it's the original. It's kind of the original look, right? So would you
Yeah,
sell
yeah.
some of your other ones just to have that because you like that look?
I mean, they made a gajillion of them.
Yeah.
It's not like they're that hard to come by if I
if you
really want one.
yeah.
Like
Right.
right now, most of my fuzz face circuits aren't as readily available as that 90s blue circle fuzz face is.
Right. So if you go sell something else that you have, you might not get it back that easily.
It sounded good though,
Exactly.
Philip. It really did.
Also,
It
I need all
sounded
the fuzz
great.
faces. I just need all the fuzz faces. The fuzz fi, I don't
The
know.
Fuzz 5.
I need them all.
You need them. Yeah, well, look, they sound great. I loved it. I was tempted to buy one myself, but I was like, I'm really not going to use it.
I think you bring up a good point though, because like the whole hype thing, I've been trying to be a lot better with that because I get so into the hype about something,
yeah.
or I see something that's coming out and it catches my eye, and then I start becoming obsessed with it. And I've really tried recently to just take a step back, sit on it for a little while, and decide, is that something I really want, or am I just like diving in too soon and I'm just going to regret it?
I found myself wanting the Chase Bliss Onward. What part of my guitar playing
What part of
suggests
your guitar?
Yeah, you're
anyone
not
that
the
would
kind of
ever
player.
play a Chase Bliss Onward? But no, there was enough hype that I was like, oh, maybe
Maybe you need that.
I need to check it. It's and I mean, we're right here in it, doing it, but it's the whole hype train thing. I've got to talk myself off of cliffs all the time.
Totally.
To be honest, the DG335 was another one of those
that's a
that I
hype
had
train.
to talk myself
Yeah,
off of.
yeah.
That was a big time.
But
hype
I love
train.
it.
And no, it's great. I played yours. It plays great. The one I played at the showroom in LA was great. I would have liked having the guitar. That's not the question. The question is, I have a bunch of other semi-hollow
Yes, you do.
335
Yes, you do.
style-ish guitars. Do I need that would have been going into this house entirely on hype, and there's no reason
No,
for it.
you're totally right
There's
about
no
that.
reason
I mean,
for it.
for me, it was my first semi-hollow guitar. But here's the thing, guys. I made the mistake or the fortunate, thing to play a Trini reissue at CME this past weekend, and it was just awesome.
Uh-oh.
They're so
It
good.
was
They're
just
so good.
so good. I think it was a Murphy Lab one. It was like relicked up.
Oh,
It was.
is it Pelham? Was it Pelham?
No. So if it was Pelham, I would have started to really think hard about it. It was like a dark
Gotcha.
cherry, whatever that is. whatever that color they have. It was like a dark shade. I didn't love the color, but I played the thing and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, this thing. I didn't even plug it in. I just played it and I was like, this thing's unbelievable. And I'm like, at one point, I got to own a Trini.
I mean,
You
well,
do?
I'm just telling you, they're not getting any cheaper.
You
That's
know
all I'm
what?
saying.
You're right. I should go on a quest to get one.
You should have taken advantage of the Manchester Music Mill deals that were going on.
You know what?
last
That is a
weekend.
pretty good deal up there. But I know I'm on. Look, I'm on a hiatus right now. I bought enough gear, so.
Are you really?
Well, maybe. Let's
don't
see.
believe
Let's see
you.
how things progress.
I mean, Carter Vintage has a 65 Trini Lopez for only the low price of $22,000.
Oh God, what a bargain!
Oh, the Matt can find that in his couch.
What
back
a
there.
bargain! But like and it is true. Like I think I said it to Philip actually after I got the DG. I'm like, I kind of understand the semi-hollow thing now. You know,
Once
Yeah.
you get it,
Yeah.
and once you start getting the notes out of a semi-hollow
Yeah.
guitar, and you hear the envelope of the note and the way it changes,
yes.
it's really hard to go back.
You know what?
And that is what killed the Stratocaster for
Oh,
me.
interesting. Okay, all right.
Oh,
That's why
wow.
it's the envelope of the note, and it's something I've only realized lately. So I used to be a Strat guy. Our band trailer got stolen. I lost my Strat. I bought like a made in Mexico one to replace it. It just didn't connect with it. And then I bought my Gibson ES 135 that's just over my shoulder here. That was 20 years ago this year. And I have not looked back at Strats since after
Wow.
hearing the sound of a semi-hollow guitar.
Nice. They are
I mean,
nice.
those things cover a lot of ground too. You can do a lot with those.
Oh
things.
man, they're so good.
And mine already had the Fralin pickups in it when I got
Ooh.
it. So
They're so good.
You
And
haven't touched that thing. It's
yeah, so like I was a little bit. I'm getting a little bit. I was always gassed up for a Trini, so that's why I got the DG. But then
Right.
and then I love the DG so much. I'm like, I bet the Gibson Custom Shop ones are just off the chain. And yes, they are.
Of course they are.
And yes, they are.
Of course they
are. And I played them before, but this one was. I played one at Manchester actually, Dave. You were there, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good, but I don't think I got it then. And then this one was a Murphy Lab once. It was just played incredible. So I was like, oh my God.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Those Murphy Lab are getting on up there. I was watching
it's
one of the
crazy.
Studio Rat videos today. Do you know what the hold on, I had it here. Let me find it again. See if I can reopen that tab. The ultra heavy aged Murphy Lab R9. Do you know how much it's going for now?
Oh no. Tell
No.
me. Brazilian rosewood or not?
10.7.
Okay, 10.7.
Oh no,
Okay.
no Brazilian.
No Brazilian.
Brazilian.
10.7 just
you're
the,
gonna double that
just the
price point.
regular one. Unbelievable.
Tens. Well, it's I won't call it just the regular because this is the ultra heavy aged
yeah.
Kindred. The lighter aging is less
Okay, all right.
expensive. They're still in like the 7 to 8.
Okay, all right.
I can't believe I'm talking about that.
Yeah,
like it's cheap.
It's
not.
crazy
That's
money.
bonkers
It's
money.
bonkers money. You're right.
It's bonkers money, but but relative to if you go up another price point in that, relative to that, that's affordable.
Yeah,
if you're
no,
in the
that's
market for
true,
one of
that's
those
true.
things.
Yeah, that's true. But it's like I think about the fact that I have several nice guitars, expensive nice guitars, and that R9, the Murphy R9, is double what I've ever spent on a guitar.
Oh man. Awesome.
Think about that.
That's crazy. It's
Yeah,
a lot of
that's-
money. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money to put
Well,
down.
we
but
know that-
again,
well, we know-
if it makes you happy and it inspires you and you play and it changes you
And
as
you're
a
not
player,
you're not taking food out of your kids'
Yeah, exactly.
mouths.
Yeah,
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah.
then it's
Then
worth it.
you-
Everybody's got their
Yeah. I mean,
price.
I mean, we say this all the time. I could sell everything in this room, and I got some nice stuff, and not be able to buy like a classic Mustang or a Camaro,
Yeah,
or something like
I
that.
say that about even
Yeah,
my own
yeah.
collection. I'd have to sell everything I own
Yeah.
guitar music wise.
Yeah.
And then I'd be able to buy like a great classic
Yeah,
car.
exactly.
One.
Like there's so many hobbies, that, and I do own a boat. It's crazy money.
Yeah.
As
Or
a
like
hobby.
I was at my in-laws this past weekend, and my father-in-law is watching a hunting show, and these guys are raccoon hunting, and there's this
crazy.
dog that's
oh right, you
treeing-
told us.
yeah, this dog that is treeing a raccoon.
Yeah.
My father-in-law looked at the screen and said, "That's a $20,000
You gotta
dog."
be kidding me.
My
That's a what?
At least it's a living thing, though.
That's
That doesn't make owning it better.
Philip, we're gonna play an interesting game. I'm gonna hand you 20 grand right now. What are you buying?
Oh, that's a fun game.
Are there any stipulations like,
None.
you've got to get an amp and a guitar?
No.
and a pedal
Any
or-
piece of guitar gear
any piece of guitar gear.
or like setup.
You got 20 grand in your
It
pocket.
could be multiple pieces of
20
guitar gear.
grand.
It could be multiple. Yeah, we could play that.
Hold on. I need to pull
Because
up prices.
in this example, okay, so while you pull those prices up, in this example, with your father-in-law and that dog serves one purpose, does one thing. It's a one-trick pony, one-trick dog.
Yeah, but so does a guitar. It does one
if
thing.
you-
It's a guitar. You play music with it.
Well, but a guitar, it's true.
It's
but
not
a
going to make
guitar
you
can-
breakfast. It's not going to toast your bagel, your everything bagel, Dave.
Well, it depends on what you're building.
Honestly, it's mostly just going to eat and poop in your backyard.
Well,
that's what it
dogs-
does most of the
dogs will do
time.
that.
That's right.
I mean, you might be able to train a dog to make your everything bagel.
But,
I mean,
but the
maybe.
guitar, depending on the
$20,000
guitar
one.
you get, could have a lot of mileage. This dog does one thing, actually three
Oh,
things.
that's funny.
It chases down raccoons and it pees and poops in the
Yeah,
backyard.
but if you
That's
really
it.
care about shooting raccoons, then you would want this dog. You know,
I guess. I mean,
that's what it is. But
So-
Philip, what do you got?
Yeah, that's what
Philip's
it
Googling
is.
madly as we talk.
I've got
Okay,
it.
what
I've
is
got it.
you've got it. You landed.
You hand me 20,000. You tell me you can buy
Yep.
whatever you want. It's free money, tax free.
Yeah.
I don't have any
Yep.
bills that
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to
You
be
can't
paid
like pay
with
off
it.
like
You
credit
walk out with
cards.
whatever you want.
Yeah, it's got to be guitar
Yeah.
gear. I'm buying
Yep.
a 1964 Gibson ES335.
Oh,
okay.
That's what I'm doing. At first, I was like, I'm buying a 1958 Gibson ES335, but those are like $65,000.
Oh, really? Okay, all right. You just Googled them.
So that's not happening.
That's a little bit too. What are the other ones coming in at?
64
The
comes
64s are
in,
at-
15 to
Yeah,
25,
yeah, that's about
somewhere in that
right.
range.
Okay, yeah. So you can find.
I
one for
actually
that price.
played.
Yeah, I could find
I
one.
played a 64 at Carter's, and I think it was like 18, 19. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, 64 is when they go back to the nut width I like. I think that's right. I think 64 goes back to the necks I like. So that's the next year. I technically I could have looked for a 59, but I think that's still going to be up in the like way too expensive
anything
range.
with the.
So
50.
then the necks get slimmer in 60, and they don't get thicker again until
Oh,
1964.
interesting. There you go, Dave.
There
What
you
about
go.
you with the 20?
You wouldn't buy the dog. I'd get the dog.
Oh, you like to have raccoons?
Well, I gotta get rid of all my I have a big raccoon problem, and I just
You
want
just want to get rid of them,
it,
so you get the dog
I
to
gotta
bark
get the
them up a
dog, chase him
tree.
down and
You
kill
know,
him. Yeah. Bark.
So Dave, I hate to tell you, and normally this is when you should have watched Old Yeller as a child.
I did.
Dogs die.
They do.
guitars don't die.
This
Old
it's funny
Yeller.
you say that.
That
'cause
is
this
a
is
sad
the
part
argument
of
that
that
I.
movie.
I have this argument with my wife all the time when I want to buy a new guitar, and she's the refrain is always, "Don't you have enough guitars?" Like everybody else hears, right?
Dave, I got
And
to tell
I
you,
always
if you're
say
still
yes, but you
arguing
know
with
what?
your wife about guitars, you're doing it wrong. This is like,
No,
look,
I just buy them anyway.
this is
She
guitar
doesn't-
dads.
she's fine.
You don't. This is this we don't do
Dave,
that.
No, I'm
you know
not-
what? You know what?
I'm
I'm
not
gonna take a
asking
I'm gonna take a
permission.
360 photo in just my gear overflow room.
That's
and so
right.
when she
We
says,
saw
"Don't
this
you have
yesterday.
enough guitars?" you can just show her
Yes.
that and say,
That's
"No."
a brilliant
and I always
idea.
say to her, I always go back to, you know what? The guitar will last forever, and it will be passed down to our children and maybe our grandchildren.
Yeah, that's true. It's a
Yep.
family heirloom.
It's a family heirloom. Whereas you
Yeah.
buy, we don't need to talk about what I spent on Justin Timberlake tickets for her birthday, which I will definitely.
Or what you
enjoy
spent
the
on
show,
Hawaii
but you know
trips.
what? Yeah, but that's different. I don't know.
No, that's different.
Yeah, that's a little bit different. But a concert is a one-time.
Well, so was a
thing.
Hawaii
Yes,
trip.
it's a memory. But a guitar lasts forever. So, I do think there's a little bit more leeway in terms of spending a fortune on a guitar versus
Yeah, screw diamonds. Guitars are
Guitars
forever.
are for. I
That's
love
right.
that. Guitars are
That's right.
forever.
Guitars are a guitar.
Guitars.
What do they say? Diamonds are a girl's best friend. No, no, no.
Guitars.
Guitars are a girl's best friend.
Guitars
And
are a
guy's best
guitar
And a guy's-
dad's best
yeah.
friend. But anyway, we're
That's
coming up on time. So let's talk about another store we visited that we're representing on our T-shirts tonight. And
Matt's.
Yes.
Went to
Matt's.
Matt's Music.
Yeah, tell me
So-
about you guys. We didn't get to Matt's because of the traffic together, but the next day you
yeah,
guys
we went down in the morning.
Philip.
Yeah.
I mean, Philip pretty much like keeps the electricity on at that
Yeah.
place.
I
He
bought
does.
one thing from them. One thing. It may
it
have
was-
paid the rent for
Yeah,
one
exactly.
month.
It probably did, which is saying a lot in Massachusetts. So there you go.
I was joking with Matt about the fact
He
that
was.
he's actually, I'd never been to the shop before, but I spent more money there
He
than
had.
Matt
That's
had.
true. That's actually accurate.
That's accurate. Yeah.
It's actually.
Yeah, but it was a great experience. They carry some great brands. We got to play. We played a Swart.
Yep.
We played the Sir PT-15, which is definitely not my kind of
Yep.
amp, but it's up
It
your
was
alley.
cool amp. It's a cool amp. Yeah, I like it.
We played 2 different amplified nations. There's a bunch of other stuff we didn't even get to plug in or look at. We played a Fano, a Sir. What else
That
did we play while
Fano
we
was
were there?
awesome.
Man,
that was
Fano's so good.
Oh man, Fano.
Should we
Sir.
talk about the new Revoltas?
You picked up a couple other guitars. Didn't you pick up some kind of a vintagey Gibson or something?
Yeah, oh yeah, I played a 120T for a little bit
Yeah.
there, and but you know me, I love vintage
Yeah.
hollow body, semi-hollow Gibsons.
Yeah.
That's just that
That's
was
your
the
thing,
first
yeah.
guitar I bothered to pick up because that was the first one I saw that was like, you have to play this,
That's cool.
you know.
Yeah.
So, but that was a great guitar. But then we got there and we talked to Metal Brendan,
Metal Brendan.
and
He's
is
awesome.
it Jason? I'm gonna feel really bad if I get this wrong.
Is it Jason? I think so.
Because I also know Jay, who works there. Well, I say I know Jay through emails, but Jay wasn't there, and so he said his name was similar sounding. At least, anyway.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I remember Metal Brendan because he had a moniker.
Because it's Metal Brendan.
Um,
yeah.
It's
Metal
Metal
Brendan,
Brendan.
yeah.
But we sat there, we chatted for like an hour. I told him, they checked to see if I had T-shirts in my size, and I tried to pay for them. They wouldn't let me.
That was a nice of them.
That was real kind
It
of them. Especially, I did buy a 2-rock.
Yeah, so that's the least they can
Yeah,
do.
so-
Considering, yes.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
nice of them.
But no, it was still, they didn't have to.
They
It was
didn't.
great. Had a great
The
time.
lights
talking
have
to
since
those guys.
gone out.
They've got for such a small shop, they've got a great inventory.
They do.
Of
They
just
really do.
amazing guitars and amps.
Yeah.
So go check them out if you are in they're not technically Boston.
They're
They
the
are
south of
they're in
Boston.
Weymouth.
Yeah,
Weymouth?
you're right.
South Shore,
Weymouth,
Weymouth,
which is south
yeah.
of Boston.
Look at
But they
that.
ship all over the place. So if you're looking for
job,
something
Philip.
cool and you're into these boutique brands like Sir, like Anderson guitars, like Nat.
Oh, I didn't even
Yeah,
touch an
like
Anderson. I looked at
Nags.
them.
They have Friedman guitars there. Not a lot of places have Friedman guitars. And definitely the amps.
I did play a
and definitely
Friedman.
the amps, like Philip is Mr. 2-Rock. They're a 2-Rock dealer. So if you want a 2-Rock, they had a couple of studio signatures in stock, the combos, not the heads, but the combos. If you're
Yeah.
interested in a 2-Rock, I'll put it this way. If you're interested in a 2-Rock, just call these guys up because they're awesome. And they'll order you
Yes.
one, from 2-Rock, and, they'll take care of you. So
Yeah, and they drop ship with 2-Rock, just like when I
They
bought
do.
mine. It didn't have to go to Matt's first and then to me. It just shipped to my house
Yep.
from 2-Rock as they
Yep,
finished it.
they
So,
do that. Yeah. So if you want a cool amp or a
that's
cool
great.
guitar, I would. And this is a great store. And like Philip said, the guys are incredible. They don't sponsor this podcast, but we
No.
just love them because they're just doing it right. So
They're the kind of store I would want to open if I opened a
Yeah.
store because it was just very chill vibe. They were like, nope, have fun, play. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They were super helpful. And not only that, but you could tell, like just chatting with them, they're into
they
gear.
know their gear.
They're into
They're
gear.
into
They're totally
it.
into gear.
Yeah.
You can spend all afternoon there. And it's a real shame for us because it's so far away from us. That's one of the
Yeah.
few shops that's like that around us, and it still is so far away we can't go down there very often. So
yeah.
Yeah, it took us so long
Oh
to
my
get there.
God.
And then getting back in traffic was so
It's
bad.
terrible. But
I
that's Boston.
I loved so as we get ready to wrap this main episode up, I'll tell you I loved Boston. First time I've ever been there. I genuinely loved the little bit I got to go to, and then I got delayed an extra day, so I ended up being able to get like a legit East Boston, family owned Italian pizza place.
yep,
It was
that place is legit
really
too.
really legit. In fact, there was a whole table full of firemen and police officers off duty, like in like the thickest possible Boston accents. I'm glad to know that's not a trope. That's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
It's a
Oh,
real thing. It's a
But-
real thing.
But I have never been more thankful to get home to small town where when I want to go 5 miles, I can rest assured that is 5 minutes from here.
You're right about that. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a lot of traffic, and you sat in a lot of it because we went to the damn South Shore. No offense to the South Shore people that are listening, but
no, it's beautiful and
too much
cool,
traffic down there, guys. The North Shore has less traffic. It just
Way
does.
too much.
For now, it does.
I'm just saying.
For now, it does.
But you guys have the cool guitar stores with Guitar Pedal Shop and Matt's. So sorry, you win on that front.
That's right.
And they got that bagel shop.
The bagels were good too. I know.
That bagel shop was legit
I know,
too.
man.
Yeah.
They got good stuff down there. Damn it, and they got good bar pizza too. Oh,
this just became a
pizza?
Boston
I want to hate the
podcast.
South Shore, but I don't.
very
I
much a Boston
can't.
podcast.
I can't hate it. And my wife grew up there, so I really can't hate it.
You really
Oh,
can't.
yeah.
Copper Sound Pedals is
It
down
would be
there.
a shame.
I mean, what am I gonna do?
It's got some. Listen, we spent more time on the South Shore than we did up around our hometown. So
when Phillip was here, we
When it
did.
comes to
Yeah,
music
yeah,
gear.
that's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, Dave.
All right. Well, as Matt said, we just wrapped up on time. So let's. We're gonna bring this over to Patreon. We got tons more to talk about. Like
And that's where I get drunk and take my clothes
Oh,
off.
whoa!
that's exactly. We all get drunk and take our
Hey
clothes
now,
off.
hey now.
All of us. Well, I'll tell you what, boys. I'm gonna have to get drunk if you want to talk about these new Revolta.
There's a lot of
guitars.
gear.
We got to talk about the. We got to talk.
I mean,
about
some
the-
beer
the
goggles
mo-
might be needed.
They may be needed. We got to talk about the new
Revolta,
Wampler pedal. We got to talk about the new
EVH.
Friedman amp.
Yep.
We got to talk about the.
We didn't talk about
EVH.
any of that.
No,
what did
what
we
do
even talk about?
This was like a waste. Sorry, guys. Come to the
We have
Patreon.
tons more gear. Come support the show. Go over to patreon.com/guitardads podcast if you want to hear some more content. Check us out at Guitar Dads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And I think for now, Matt and Phillip, that was this week's Guitar Dads podcast.
Thanks, Phillip. Thanks for hanging out, man.
De nada.
All right. Keep rocking live. Catch you on.